and welcome to Winterberg in Germany for the second heat of the fourth Wiesmann FIBT two-man bobsled World Cup race of the season. And as the sun starts to drop below the horizon, well, we see the track record broken again. Well, hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven. Alongside me is NBC Olympic commentary expert John Morgan. John, we saw the track record decimated by first heat leader Bert Hefty earlier today.
Yeah, but this was shocking, the first heat. Max Ard, one of the favorites in the race, he started too early, like 30 seconds too early. He was disqualified. Never seen that happen from a top team like Germany #1. But here's what can happen on this track. It's an easy track to get down, but sometimes a mistake down 11 and 12 and you can come through your helmets. Thomas Vorschutz, Kevin Kuska, Germany #1. He started 11th, didn't have the fresh ice to work with, didn't have good speed down the track. Vorschutz won both events here last year, and he sits in 4th place. Now Jesse Lumsden and pilot Lyndon Rush from Canada, they started early, they came down, broke the track record. 3rd place out of the first run, they're in medal position, but Alexander Zubkov, Dmitry Trukhanov from Russia. Zubkov, not great results in two-man so far this year, but on this day, he broke the track record. And he's in 2nd place, but then starting later on, he had Thomas Lamparter from Switzerland. Great start, and Lamparter and Hefty, who have been not on the North American Tour, came out and they broke the track record and they lead after run 1.
Well, confirmation of that result after the first of our two heats. Bert Hefty leading Alexander Zubkov by 1800s. Lyndon Rush lies 3rd from Vorschutz. Stephen Holcomb, who's won all 3 two-man World Cup races in the North American swing, he lies in 5th position. Well, 20 sleds go through from our 27 original starters into the second heat. We cut nearly a third of the field. And they start with Poland's Dawid Kupczyk as they go last to fast, 20 down to 1. Well, the athletes warming up in the car park and the road beside the track at the top. It's a nice afternoon. It's been clear all day after snow in training. The ice is very fast and highly polished. That's what has caused a few upsets in the field. But as ever, the most experienced pilots, John Morgan, they're going to make the best of it because they're best placed to react to changing conditions.
You don't ever see conditions like this in Winterberg. Usually it's raining, a lot of high moisture in the air. The track becomes very affected by Mother Nature, but today it's a picture-perfect tourism day. I've seen about 5 of these in 30 years.
Dawid Kupczyk will be the first of the 20 sleds. Bert Hefty will be the last. Now, in the women's race, we saw Kaylee Humphries of Canada come from 3rd to win it ahead of America and Germany. Can history repeat? Well, there's an awful lot of fans here from Germany, of course, and from the Netherlands across Europe. We'll have to wait and see what the results bring for us. To get our second heat underway here in Winterberg, Dawid Kupczyk and Marcin Navarra of Poland. Well, they are exactly a minute off the lead of the race. Their target will be the sled in front of them, the Dutch, led by Edwin Vanccocker.
BTC Latvia sled. Look at the runner tips. Kupczyk was not on the North American Tour. And with the start time deficiency, 62.5 kilometers. Now use that as a barometer. That speed at the start is such an important number on this track. Up here, uphill section, can't make any mistakes. Now curve 4 starts to drop off. Quick counter curve now into the Kreisel curve. Look at the speed going in, 94.5 kilometers, which is about 58.7 miles an hour. Curve 9, this is the pivotal part of the track right there. 100.1 kilometers. You'll see the best sleds 102. Kupczyk with good line, very experienced pilot. 131.6, pretty quick. 81.8 miles an hour. Threw it down 56.19, Martin. That's cheap. That's 2,200s better.
Well, that is a big improvement. And when you see that, you immediately ask yourself, was he just poor in the first heat and good in the second heat? Or is the track speeding up as the sun drops and the temperature goes with it?
Yeah, the temperature's definitely got to change the ice here because the sun's going down. It's been bright sun all day. Look at these lines. He was very smooth. Very good lines, but his nemesis is a very deficient start time. 5:33. We're going to see the top sled start 5:11, 5:12, 2/10 better. That's an eternity of time in bobsled.
Well, I want to bet you that Kupchik moves up because I think Vanccocker of the Netherlands is going to struggle. He pulled a hamstring in Whistler 2 weeks ago, and we saw him take about 6 steps before hobbling into the bobsled in the first heat. And that's just to break the inertia.
Can't believe he's even trying this. Now watch, this is a 6'6" guy, powerful, and now watch him just take a couple steps and jump in. This is painful to watch. You can see he's just jogging. Puts a lot of pressure on his brake.
So they started 5:42 in the first heat, 5:43 in the second. But it was such a good second slide by Kupchik. I think that he's in trouble here.
Yeah, and he had a 10th kilometer speed deficiency on Kupchik. Here's the uphill section. No mistakes allowed here. Look at him here. It's good. 4, 5. I mean, he's got the equipment. Only 3 down. Better speed than Kupchik right there.
Yes, he does.
This is the slingshot effect of the Kreisel. The good lines there. So wounded Edwin Vanccocker doesn't have speed there, though. Boy.
Long way down.
Yeah, he's 2 kilometers, a kilometer and a half back there, so he's going to fall down. He'll fall back here for sure.
Kupchik 1:31 at the bottom, 1:31.6, 1:31.0. It'll be close, but not close enough.
Yeah, very perplexing. He was coming back, only 300s down, going into Kreisel. Good speed in the entrance to Kreisel, but the speed out of Kreisel is where he might have faltered.
Looks like he had to have a big steer somewhere coming into the Kreisel, perhaps. Maybe a skid we didn't quite catch. Second place, but you know he's got to finish, got to get points.
Yeah, he's.
That keeps your ranking up.
Look at him get out of the sled. This is painful. I mean, all he could, hamstrings, they don't grow back. Look at him. I would think it's his right hamstring the way he's coming down here. Look at him. See the way he jumps in it. That's got to be painful to do that. Hamstrings. You notice your hamstring. That doesn't go away.
Absolutely.
How old's he? 34, 33 years old now. When you're 23, maybe.
So it is David Kupchik who leads for Poland. Next up, John Jackson of Great Britain. Disappointing first run to be down in 18th spot. They're trying to move up towards the top 10.
He had a great North American tour. John Jackson was one of the most impressive athletes from how he did on the North American tour. He really improved from the previous year, but 5:29 start, pretty much what he had in the first run. 62.9 kilometers is a good speed. There's no way he can have as bad a heat as he had in the first run.
Well, he's already about 3 mistakes not in this run that were in the first run.
Yeah. Pretty good there. Got away with getting in 4 without tapping before the take-on. He's accelerating away, 94.7 is the best speed. Ooh, a little up and down there in the take-on. He's going to need 100 kilometers plus to challenge. Doesn't have it, but he's got enough money in the bank, time in the bank.
Yeah, but the speed's ebbing away in his Hildebrand sled. That's not what you want. He's 1:31 and change. 1:32, there we go.
He's found it on the bottom. Very strange. Look at that. 20. He accelerated away in the bottom. So obviously, curve 9 down, he let the sled motor, which it does. It goes from about 55 to 80 in about 150 meters on the bottom part of this track. It gets quick out of curve 9.
Well, that was a much better run. That was a full 1/3 of a second better than his first heat. If he'd done that in heat 1, he'd have been in the top 10.
Look at the finish. Look at the helmets. Perfectly lined up. The British need a flag on that sled, though. But look at the speed difference. half a kilometer. In bobsledding, doesn't sound like much, but when you're dealing with hundreds of seconds, it's a lot.
Actually, you know what? 56.02 slide he's just done would have left him 7th in the first heat, which is exactly where he hoped to be.
You try to tell me we're going to see track records again?
Well, either that or he tidied up an awful lot of detritus from heat 1. Well, next up, Russia 2, Dmitry Abramovich with Sergei Prudnikov. And he's the 3rd of our Russian sleds. Resets, ready to go.
Abramovich, I think he won the Junior World Championship about 4 years ago. He was pushing Zubkov in 2007 and 8. And then he just sort of got, I think he got injured after the 2010 games, 2010-11, and we didn't see him at all last year. He toiled a little bit at the World Cup. We didn't see him in North America, but he was the guy with a lot of promise. Look at his eyes. I mean, he's barely got his head above that cowling, and them eyes. You see any part of that lower part of the helmet, you have a bad aerodynamic profile. Abramovich is locked in, very, very proficient.
He's losing speed though, John. 99.9, same as the Brits. This could end up being a tie.
Well, the Brits got a big speed at the bottom, 132 and change, 80+ miles an hour. It's still the 100. Look at the speed. Doesn't have the speed. I got to believe Jackson's going to beat him.
Yeah, that could be a 10th.
There it is.
0.05 of a second. 56.10 slide.
Jackson had him by half a kilometer on the bottom, and that was 500.
Yep.
From the clock on the exit of 10 to the finish line, they were dead heat, and on the bottom, Jackson found some time with that Hefty sled through the labyrinths. The Russian didn't.
Well, there you go, that's the difference. Just 0.05 of a second, less than the blink of an eye.
Oh, he's hurt too.
Yes, he
look,
is.
He's hurt too.
Well, look, he's already got a taped up right ankle. Well, now that might go to explain a 5:36 start.
Yeah, he's a better starter than that. Here's the speed before Kreisel. Look at this. This is a great graphic. He's the 4th best speed on the entrance to Kreisel. And watch the sled go through. Watch the line now. Looks like he's dipped. Look at, it's going up and down a little bit. Doesn't have that consistent line. And on the exit of Kreisel, slingshot effect, he's got the 2nd best speed. So he improved, but he must have made his mistake down in curve 9 down at the bottom. Or John Jackson was that much better.
There's Dmitry. Next up, the National Guard sled, Nick Cunningham and Chris Boat. Getting away very quickly at the start of the time.
Yeah, this is BTC Skraken's Latvian sled that he's driving a 2 and a 4 over here, Latvian design. One of his boat irons. Poor man, he's broken and he's driving these sleds. Different feel. Corey Butner gets great starts in 4-man. He's had a great results in 4-man. I think he's in the top 5 in World Cup points.
Well, Nick Cunningham, 900s up at the start, but the gap is coming down. 94.7, that's the same speed as our leaders, Great Britain. So just holding on in front. 700s now, he's starting to turn the tables. 100.3, better speed.
Good lines, better lines. Remember, he almost crashed in the first run. -8, 132.2, that's good speed. He should maintain his placing.
It'll be out to about, oh, so only 700s. Wow, close racing. So it's Nick Cunningham who takes the lead for the USA.
His brakeman, Chris Fote, also a National Guardsman. He was on Johnny Napier's sled at the 2010 games. Nick Cunningham from Boise State, from Monterey, California. He's a rodeo rider, bull rider. He's also a decathlete at Boise State. Look at the power. Look at Fote's head position. Locked right in on his shoulders, nothing back and forth.
His
good
head's
technique.
barely higher than his hips.
Chris Fote, very, very good technique. Cunningham's a good athlete, again, decathlete out of Boise State. Decathletes are great, great, great transition from decathlon over to bobsled.
Made his World Cup debut at the end of last season. This is his first World Cup year. Next up is Austria 1, Jürgen Loacker. Jürgen now 37 years old. You've got to believe that Sochi will probably be his final hurrah.
Yeah, he made the 2006 and 10 games for Austria. Great driver. lax at the start. 5:36. 5:38 in the first run, so at least he improved.
Well, he's still giving away a 1/10 of a second to Nick Cunningham, and he only had 100th in hand after the first heat. He's now 1200ths back.
Cunningham had a rough first run, though.
Yes, he did.
Second run, he put it together, which rookies do. They have one good, one bad. It's tough for him to... When you put two together, then you start getting near the podium.
Well, the other side of that, of course, is if you're going to have a dodgy run, have it in your first heat and tidy up in the second and move up.
Yeah.
End on a high note, not with disappointment.
Vanccocker with decent speed. Watch these lines. This is a very experienced pilot. 132 and no change, though, so
not as much
he's
as
going to fall back at least 2 spots. Fifth best time of the heat.
4 spots back. Wow, Jürgen Loacker.
Manfred Mayer, the coach on the right, shakes their head. Look at Loacker. Man, what happened? Sometimes you get to the bottom of the track, you just don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Let him shake his head.
Well, I think he knows what happened. Just too many mistakes. This is a fairly straightforward track. It's one they used to teach the juniors on. But like the most simple things in life, getting them right is the detail. Nick Cunningham leads from John Jackson and Dmitry Abramovich. 6 sleds down of our 20-strong field. Martin Haven and John Morgan calling the action here trackside at Winterberg in Germany. Not quite as trackside as they are. Next up is the Dutch sled of Ivo de Bruyne and Bro van der Zijde. Well, young Ivo still just third in the Junior Worlds at the end of last season. His final World Championship as a junior, 26 years old now.
Not a bad start, 7th best start, 5:24 in the first run, but they made some mistakes out of curve 1. Didn't have good speed. 5:25, speed should be 63. There it is. He was better in this run than he did in the first run. The first run, he skidded a little bit.
Yep.
He had like 62.7 speed there, so he cleaned that up.
900s up at the start, 800s ahead of Nick Cunningham now.
Good lines. Down 6 though, no speed. 3/10 of a kilometer down to Cunningham. Now on the bottom part of the track, he needs the absolute rail lines. Down to 1. Oh, and that's rough. It's history now. That's going to erase. That's like an anchor when you do that. That just putting out a parachute. That just is at least 1,500ths of a second. He doesn't have the speed. He's going to fall back.
4 spots here. He does.
6th best time of the run. So Nicola Minicello, the coach of the Dutch team, look on. His mistake, he had a chance till curve 9. That curve 9, which is the personality of this Winterberg track, it was 30 years ago. It is now. Look at the lines here. Curve 9. Is he right? Look at, he goes down. He comes back up above those white lines. Now this is where issues. Late, because he had to go back up centrifugal force, taps before the take-on, pushes him to the left side of our screen, bangs again. A little bit of a ricochet rabbit here. It's not what you want to do when you're trying to go 75, 80 miles an hour. Look at the coaches.
Yeah. Mickey Minicello, former women's world champion as a driver. And of course, she started her career as a brakewoman as well. There's Braw. He is a big Braw lad as well. Now, a pair of big Braw lads here. Oscars Melbardis and Damas Driskins. Fastest starters in the field. Only 13th at the bottom from first at the top, though.
Same thing, he made a mistake out of curve 1. He's going to probably have a 5:12, 5:11 start. It's the same thing, skid. 5:12, 62.9, 63.5. He's 1 kilometer better than the first run, so he did not make the start. Now, this guy with that start has got a chance to come down and put himself, move up 5 or 6 spots. This is what you do in World Cup bobsledding when you're just a rookie or second year on tour. You have 1 good heat, 1 bad heat. But as you said before, you want to have a good second heat and move up. Melbardis,
he's going to do 4/10 up.
Yeah, but you know, the curve 9 is looming right here. Low, high, gets through there.
Had to hold it off. That will have stunted his progress a little. Yeah, look,
steering.
Lost a 10.
Yeah, doesn't have that 132 speed. He's the leader. He's definitely the leader.
He's not going to move that far up, though. 55.85 slide. Quarter of a second better than Nick Cunningham. John, a lot of that came from the first heat, though.
He's 3,400s better than the first heat. And that was all relative. Curve one, he made the mistake in the first heat, around the first curve, sideways, lost the speed, and he had 62.5 speed in the first run at curve one, 63.5 second run. There's an eternity of difference there. Here's the 9. Watch him, look at the sled dive down, waver, goes back up. That's not the optimum line through curve 9. Here, a lot of steering, but he gets through there. But you get through there, the rapid steering, you're scraping off valuable hundreds.
There's Damas Triskins. There is Oskars Malbardis. Labeling Beat Hefty as the single biggest push monster on the planet. Now then, this is our World Cup rookie for Russia, Alexei Stulnev, with Alexei Pushkarev behind him. Stulnev, his wife, slides for the Russian women's team, and it's the first time we've seen him as a World Cup racer. 5:26 getaway.
Speed, not bad, 63.1, considering he had a 26 start. That's not bad. Malbardis, 63.5, but he had a 1400s better start. But he's 1800s back of Malbardis. That'll probably continue to diminish, run away from 18 to 21. He's still bleeding time. And unless he finds a way to get into 101 speed, a high 100-kilometer speed, which is about 62 miles an hour. It's not bad, 61.9. But, you know, he's doing great stuff on the bottom part of the track, but he's running out of track time. He's got better speed. Look at that, up and down there. He's going to fall back one spot.
Well, again, that was a real rookie ride, wasn't it? Lots of steering going on, but he got it down safely, and he is ahead of his more experienced teammate Dmitry Abramovich by 4 spots. So Russia 3 puts one over on Russia 2. Russia 1, Alexander Zubkov, still a little way to go to catch him, though.
Start, you know, you don't start times 5:26, not bad. Well, first time out on the World Cup Tour, he knows what to do in front of the camera. Yeah. Look at this, up and down in the finish. Look, he comes way down, and he's going uphill here. So this is not what you want, going uphill. You're going from about 80 miles an hour, and you slow down a couple miles an hour. You don't want to slow down more. I think he's been watching this.
USA 2, der Start ist frei.
Maybe the single best rookie reaction to camera I think I've ever seen. Corey Butner and Johnny Quinn next up in the USA 2 sled. Corey Butner, 30 years old, Californian boy, high school basketball player. See the routes people take into bobsleigh, no predicting.
Quinn's a football player. Played in the CFL. He's a Bluegrass guy, a Kentucky guy.
Vorgestanden Corey Butner, Johnny Quinn in der amerikanischen Crew USA 2.
62.7, not very good speed. That's their load and their start time. But boy, that's going to be tough. He's 3/4 down, not only to the speed and time to the Russians and Latvian sled. Corey needs to be perfect.
Well, Corey, like teammate Nick Cunningham, first time in Europe, John, so they are learning these tracks really rapidly.
That's an understatement. You know, that's good speed, though. 100.5 there. A little late. Skid 10. Sled a little late there. And late here. Watch out. He carves out there. Coming back. Best speed.
Good speed.
I don't know if he's going to catch him. It's quick. 800s.
Oh, 55.99, the same as Alexei Stulnev, not quite enough to stay in front of Oskars Malbardis of Latvia. Good second run from Malbardis. Again, what he did in this second heat would have left him 5th in the first heat, and that's where he should be off his starts.
in the 9. Look at him. Not bad, pretty consistent. He tries this, he comes out flat quickly. Watch him just tap this wall there. Pushes him over to the left side of our screen into the middle of the curve.
Oh, is that another athlete who's feeling something tighten up?
Looks like a groin.
He does not need a groin strain. 1 week to go before there's any rest. Oskar Melbardis leads from Corey Butner and Alexei Stulnev. 10 still to come here in Winterberg.
Den dritten Platz, einen hervorragenden dritten Platz in diesem Weltcuprennen. Vor Alex Gaff, der Kanadierin, und vor Tatjana Hüfner, die letztlich Fünfte wird. Und auch bei den Doppelsitzern gab es einen deutschen Erfolg. Tobias Wendel und Tobias Arlt, die beiden Tobis vom Königssee, haben hier das Rennen gewonnen vor den Österreichern Penz und Fischler und Eggert und Benneken ebenfalls aus dem deutschen Team. Und nicht zu vergessen, der Freudenberger Robin Goike und David Gamm aus Winterberg. Sie schafften den 10. Platz im Weltcup Doppelsitzer Rodeln in Altenberg. Das war ein kurzer Blick hinüber ins Erzgebirge vom Hochsauerland aus. Wir konzentrieren uns nun auf die letzten 10, die die Entscheidung bringen in der Bob-Disziplin Zweierbob der Herren um den Sieg und die Platzierung hier beim Fiesmann FIBT Weltcup an der Kappe in Winterberg. In wenigen Momenten geht's weiter. Die Zeit an der Bahn 14:56 Uhr, noch eine Minute bis zur Fortsetzung des Rennens.
Nein, rüber wieder 3 Stück. Ja, ich hab's gewogen. Nein, auf Handy. So, auf Handy anrufen. Guck mal, alle 4 rüber.
Die nächsten Starter, Kanada
Welcome
2.
back. Winterberg in Germany, top of the track is Canada 2, Chris Spring. 10 sleds to go here to decide the medals for this 4th FIBT Wiesmann World Cup in the 2-man bobsled.
3 Canadian sleds here in the top 10. Spring, Justin Cripps, and Lyndon Rush will be challenging for the medals. Speed in the left, 62 high, 63 flat. That's very achievable goal, and he did it. That's what you want to do, is have a decent start, then the most magical 63 speed. That'll give you a chance. And the next part of the track, it's slow, no mistakes allowed until it starts at about here. 1800's down, that's decent speed. But he can catch Melbardis down here on the bottom with a good line. Latvians are in the lead at the bottom, that's good speed. He's down to 16. Man, he's gonna really have to lower it.
Yeah, he's gonna need 132.
Coming back to 12. Decent speed, he's just running out of track. So I think Melbardis picked up somebody else. No.
11 hundredths of a second.
Melbardis has moved up 4 spots.
So Melbardis into the top 10 after finishing 13th in the first heat.
I bet you Melbardis has the top 5 or 6 time in this run, even though starting where he did. Because these other guys are coming down, they're going to have a lot more chewed up track than Melbardis did to work with.
Well, that is very true. Chris Spring off a great result in Whistler, but disappointing here in Winterberg.
Well, he won the bronze medal in 4-man. Of course, these are good lines. He got on that takeout a little early, bumped him over in the middle. Chris Spring.
Well, still fighting back to fitness after that big crash in Altenburg last autumn. Next up, Simone Bertazzo, who was the first sled on the ice this morning. Francesco Costa, his brakeman. There's your leaders on the right. Oskar Melbardis on the left, his brakeman, Dalman Striskins.
Living in the leader's box.
Yeah.
It's not a bad sound, huh? Simone Bertazzo, Francisco Costa. Sled built by Bertazzo. I mean, That's what he's turned into late in his career. Takes parts from a bunch of different sleds, puts things together on his own terms. And the successful Italian pilot before him, Gunter Huber, used to do the same thing. Of course, he's from the Cortina area, the hotbed of sliding. There's so many great Italian bobsledders. You know, when you get to the stage of his career where you can build your own sled, that tells you how good of a pilot you are and how knowledgeable you are about the sport.
Drifting away, though, from our leader, Oscar Melbardis.
Coming back.
99.8, not as quick as Melbardis.
Bottom part of the track, he could save this with any kind of 132 speed. No, doesn't have it. This is going to be right to 200 or 300 still to the red. 4.
56.03 slide, 56.05 in his first heat, so very consistent indeed, John Morgan. The difference is that Melbardis was just hopeless in the first run, much better in the second.
Yeah, he was sleepless in Seattle in the first run. With that type of start, he should have been up top 5 or 6. Bertazzo just can't compete at the 50 meters here. You know, the 375 little 1/16 of an inch spikes that give you the grip to go across the ice. Special made shoes by Adidas. In and down. Look at the brakeman. Cat-like movement. See that little left and right? I mean, I think you don't even want to do that.
So many of these guys have got big, wide shoulders. Yeah. Look at them. I mean, look at the width of these guys. They're almost twice the width of the sled.
Als nächster startet Canada 3.
From the Sochi track here, scoping out the way things work. And at the top of the ice, Justin Cripps with World Cup rookie Samuel Giguère from Quebec. Only flew in this week to join the tour.
4th best start in the first run.
Yeah, he's a good add to this Cripps Canada 3 sled.
5:19 start in the first run. But let's see him get through the first curve.
Oh,
there's a rookie.
Wow, just tripped on the back of the sled.
Though. See if it cost him. 63 did not cost him. I don't think that cost him.
It'll cost him in the long run, but
I don't know if that cost him.
Not as much as if Giguère had not got in the sled, because that's a disqualification. Yeah.
But that clock, speed clock, comes in after that first curve. He should have been down to 62.3 or something with that would have really cost him. But you know, look at the time. Of course, he was 7/800ths down to Melbardis at the start. So if he gets this, keeps this at 13, he's got a chance. No, it's drifted more away, and he doesn't have any kind of speed. But still, this is a great result for Justin Cripps. If he can stay in the top 10.
He's sixth at the moment, but there are still 7 sleds to come. This is going really badly for Justin Cripps,
10th best time of the run.
Wow.
That's a rookie thing, man. You got one good heat, one bad heat. When Justin puts 2 together like the first heat, he'll be in the top 10 on a consistent basis.
Do you know what? I didn't notice before that he slides in goggles as well, a la Pierre Ludus, but look at his brake man, Samuel.
Yeah,
just must have caught his toes coming in. Watch the man on the left of your screen as he loads in.
A lot of left to right motion. That's a mistake as he gets his power step.
Doesn't get in.
No, he dove in. I don't think his feet slowed him down. I don't think he hit the ice, but that definitely had to take some momentum out.
Yeah.
Look at the reaction.
I know. I've not seen a 2-man brakeman almost go in on his head. Wow. Samuel, man, welcome to the World Cup. Everybody makes mistakes.
That's a good result for Justin Cripps.
No kidding. Manny Mahata next up with Christian Poser. Only 7th in the first heat.
I've never seen German pilots have the 16th best start time in the first run. I'm just really perplexed why Manny Mahata's got such. Now that's better, 5:27. In the first run, he was 5:32. So that's better, but still suspect. Really, you know, we saw that in the women's race with Kiriasis and Martini finishing 8th and 9th. That's Kiriasis' worst finish of her life. And on a German track.
On her German
track. She lives in town here.
And then in the first heat, we had a German sled disqualified, Max Arndt.
Yeah, so this is not a good home cooking day for the Germans on the first trip to the first venue in North America. And Mahata here Dead heat, speed, 131.6. I don't know if that's enough speed. It's going to go right to the 100th of a second.
Well, he just squeezes it. That's less a Jarvol and more, oh my goodness. That
Look at this, the glasses on. Mahara, he's the only guy in the field that has glasses on underneath that visor. Last guy I seen drive with glasses was the guy named Horst Schonau. He's German, won the World Championships in '78 in Lake Placid. He looked like a mad scientist. Back then, the East Germans all looked like something.
Listen, Kathleen Martini, Sandra Kyriasis, only 8th and 9th in a women's race. Mahara may end up no better than 7th.
These are good lines.
Yeah.
Look at the speed, 7th best speed. Now the speed.
Behind John Jackson of Great Britain. You know, this is
well,
Germany in
They
Winterberg.
went early. The track's cut up. I don't think we're going to see any other great speeds. I think the track's given up enough.
I'm not sure I want to agree with you on that yet.
Here's a guy did pretty good.
Yeah, now he punched above his weight in the first heat, no question. 6th spot after the first heat. This is a really good chance for him to consolidate a top 6 finish here.
15th best start of the first run, a 5:30. He should improve. The Swiss have always done good on this track. In fact, their teammate, Hefty, leads. Oh,
that's the end of it.
Forget it. So now the question is, how many sleds is he going to drop? 61.6, 2 kilometers down. Well,
it wasn't too many years ago. The Swiss had a 1-2 here. Gregor Baumann 2nd, Bert Hefty 1st. Both crashed out of the final corners. You go 1-2.
Yeah, that's what.
Not much chance of that happening today, I don't think.
No, he's going to fall.
Well, he's a quarter second back already.
4 or 5 places, maybe 6 places. Yeah. So he's the 14th sled. How many sleds? He's the 13th sled down. He could have the 12th best time in the heat, fall 7 places, and then you might see his helmet go flying here at the end too. That's what that curve 1 can do to you.
He's now hitting everything in sight. It's completely rattled him, and he may not make it in one piece.
Good speed, though. Good speed, considering what he did up there in the first curve. But 14th best time of the run, like I said it would be. Yeah. He drops 8 places, and if you can describe a bad second run, that's it. That's as poor as you can do. And you know, there's another example of a rookie pilot. You can't put 2 heats together. One good one, which he did, and then one terrible one. An average heat there would have left him in the top 10.
And it all goes wrong the moment the sled comes out of those grooves. He's not got control.
Well, does somebody alter it? He's in okay, and he grabs the D-ring.
He must
have grabbed the left one first or something.
Steer. The runner tips didn't move. The sled just jerked sideways. And
Eric Allard, the coach, the former French World Championship medalist here in 1995, now coaching the Swiss.
Manuel Mahara leads. Stephen Holcomb is at the top of the track. Kurt Tomasevich have been unbeaten this season in the 2-man. In fact, with Stephen Langton and Tomasevich, Holcomb has won all 3 races this year. But he lies in 5th position.
9th best start time of the first run, 5:26. I got to believe they're going to improve that. Dead straight, 5:22. 400's better. Speed, 63 flat. Ooh, I thought it'd be better than that. 60. Yeah. Holcomb, I don't think, is worried about keeping his place. And Holcomb needs to. He knows he's got to throw a perfect run down here to have any chance to move on to a medal. He didn't lose too many heats, 6 heats in North America. He had 5 the best heats, and only one of his teammates beat him. Corey Butler beat him in 1 heat. It's 3 straight gold medals in North America. Now he's losing time back. Same type of line that he had in the first run. He flopped off 9, didn't steer.
He's 132 at the bottom.
Down to 16.
132
change,
top
good
speed.
He's flying.
1400s, he still lost time. Mahata was really
2300s.
the track.
55.98 in the first, the second run. 55.85 in the second run. 1300s.
Slower than his first.
Yeah. A lot of people are going quicker.
Yeah.
But he's the World Cup leader, and he'll leave here as the World Cup leader.
Yeah.
Because the three guys in front of him aren't the people he's worried about.
Yeah, especially if Bert Hefty wins this one, as he may yet do. Holcomb.
Curve 9 here. A little high. Well, that's a pretty good, consistent line around that curve. Climbs a little bit there. Watch him flop off. Watch the way the sled flops off the exit here. Not steering. He's not steering away. I'll just take what the corner gives me. Come straight into the take-on. He had the lines he wanted.
Good lines. Stephen Holcomb leads, doesn't look overjoyed. He doesn't think that was a gold medal performance. What about Thomas Florschutz and Kevin Kuska of Germany then? Kuska, the man mountain, is black, and Florschutz seems to be fit again.
Florschutz won both the 2- and 4-man events here last year in Winterberg. Went on to Altenburg after the Christmas break, tore up the leg. I think it was his Achilles. Was on injured reserve there. Didn't do anything with the North American Tour. Was on the Europa Cup Tour earlier this year. But he's coming back, and another German pilot that's in unfamiliar territory. Again, Max Arndt, one of the favorites in the race, disqualified for going before the green light in the first run. Yeah, how many times have I seen that in my bobsled career? Never. Yeah. So on a home track in Germany, I just don't understand that type of mistake.
Well, now he was 4/10 off the lead.
Whoa, this is fast.
He's not worried about
This is a
Holcomb.
good
He's
run.
trying to get into the medals.
This is flying. If he gets 133 kilometers here, he's going to have a chance to medal. No, doesn't have the speed at the bottom, but still going to carry at least 3/10 lead. Yeah. Holcomb and Thomas Evans finally have now won the gold medal.
Yeah. Well, Holcomb may not be on the medal table at all at the moment.
That's guaranteed fourth for Thomas Florschutz.
Well, look, Kevin Kuska behind him, man mountain, 5:17, second fastest start of the entire competition to try and get them a medal.
Yeah, here's the lines in Kreisel. After Kreisel, look at that. Well, Corey Butner went early. He had the good speed. Corey Butner had a much better second run than first.
There is
Kevin
Kuska.
Probably the most decorated brakeman in the last 10 years for the Germans.
And don't think that Florschutz is some short guy either. He ain't. He leads from Holcomb and Mahata. 3 to go. Lyndon Rush of Canada, third after the first heat. Looking for a gold medal here, perhaps. Katie Humphries of Canada was third after the first heat in the women's race this morning. Mind you, she was only 800ths off the lead. He's 2200ths off the lead. This is a big ask for him and brakeman Jesse Lumsden.
He's got a huge lead, 1900ths on this track. And the only thing he can do is a mistake right here at curve 1. Speed, 63 kilometer speed in the left.
5:16
Oh,
and
big
even at the
speed.
start.
Some of the best speed we're going to see out of curve 1. This is what he did in the first run when he broke the track record.
He and Lumsden ripping off a massive start there, John.
2200s, probably go to 24, 25. And then Florschutz was perfect in the middle part of the track, down to 22. Now he's starting to bleed, he's evened up with Florschutz, but he's got all that time in the bank. Only a massive mistake down here in the pivotal part of the track. Curve 9 coming up. Watch the way it comes off this curve. Ooh, a little rough. Not bad, though. He didn't steer off there. He just took what the track gave him, and it might go down there. That's okay. This should be enough. 131 and change.
131.8. He's going to be very close.
Should be enough for a medal.
Yes, it is.
You saw there's an experienced pilot. He took what the track gave him. He was a little late in 9. He didn't panic. Held the D-rings in check, let the sled come off. It wasn't perfect, but he had enough time in the bank from the first run.
Jesse Lumsden absolutely stoked with that 5:16 start. This team is the second quickest on the planet.
Huge, man. Look at that. Jesse's got his head locked in between his shoulders, not a lot of side to side. They probably count steps. in. It's not easy to jump over that thing at 20 miles an hour. Look at the speed. Remember I yelled about that speed, 63.5. Melbardas had 400s better start. The Canadians had better speed, which means they had better entry into the sled and smoother around the first curve. That's what you want. The optimum speed out of the first curve is more important than the best start time.
Yeah, baby! Next up, quiet contemplation for Alexander Zubkov and his brakeman Dmitry Chernenkov, 1800ths away from the gold medal.
Impressive start time in the first run, 5:22 for the aging Zubkov. Who's won all 3 four-man races this year. 5:20 speed, 63 and change, 63.3, that's consistent. Not as good as Rush, but he won all 3 events in North American four-man, didn't medal in 2-man. And here he comes out on this short 1,300-meter track, had an impressive first run.
This is looking equally neat and tidy, John. No mistakes so far.
Yeah, but he's +4, -4 to +3. Speed, 95 kilometers, and he gets 101 kilometer speed coming up on our left. He's got a chance. 100.3, down to it's equal. Now, Jesse Lumsden was a little rough there in the 9. Zubkov was the veteran smooth.
131.5.
Now he's got it. Exeter curve 9, bigger speed, he'll be the leader. Yeah.
Is that enough for the gold medal?
There's some driving. Jesse Lumsden, or excuse me, Lyndon Rush and Jesse Lumsden were a little rough on 9. And here's the first medal of the year for Zubkov in 2-man. Just watch out for tomorrow in the 4-man.
38 years old, Alexander Zubkov. He only is thinking of one thing. Sochi, February 2014.
Look at these lines. Perfect, perfect. Bottom part of the track, nobody was better. Zubkov was dialed in. It's like the sled was on a rail. He didn't steer down here. Didn't have the best, well, close to the best speed, but he had already had 2000ths on Holcomb, who had the best speed on the bottom in this run.
There is your race leader, Alexander Zubkov of Russia. And here is the fastest man on the track so far today. Led after the first heat, Bert Hefty and Thomas Lamparter. He saw his track record broken twice and then broke it again to reclaim the mark. He holds the start record and the track record and the lead.
It's his race to lose. Couple start monsters. The only thing they can do is skid here at curve 1.
But against the likes of Zubkov, it's not a done deal. He hits the wall twice in corner 1.
Same speed as Zubkov. But that's going to come back because he had that little bank. Now, Hefty isn't known for being a great driver. 1,300-meter track like here in Winterberg, the start ability he's got, this is exactly his type of road course.
He's won here before in 2-man. He is going to win here again in 2-man. 3/10 of a second in front. He is pulling away from Alexander Zubkov. 95.1, same speed as the Russian. 100.6, quicker than the Russian.
Yeah, this is impressive. Guy comes out, wasn't in North America, and here he is. First race of the year in Winterberg, and he makes a statement to the rest of the 2-man teams. I'm back.
132.6, top speed from Bert Hefty as he claims his first win of the year. He has not won in Europa Cup because Thomas Florschutz beat him in all their races together. He's been in the silver medal position, but no longer. Bert Hefty and Thomas Lamparter. I am now contractually obliged to say, Hup Suisse. They win for Switzerland. This has been the scene of victories before for Hefty in the 2-man, and it so is again today. Dmitry Chernenkov goes to offer his congratulations to the Swiss team. Alexander Zubkov, Dmitry Chernenkov take the silver medal. Lyndon Rush, Jesse Lumsden take the bronze, but the gold to those two men, closest to us, Bert Hefty and his brakeman, Thomas Lamparter. And of course, both of them, for many years, braked together for Martin Annen and then for Ivo Röck, before Bert took up driving. And the golden duo own the records again as they go to the winner's medal enclosure. Well, good drives in both heats from Bert Hefty. A couple of tiny errors, but these two start monsters gives themselves the advantage and the chance to get away with tiny little errors. Consistently fast, consistently good. Victory for Bert Hefty by 0.3 of a second in the end over Alexander Zubkov. Lyndon Rush claiming third place ahead of Thomas Florschutz and Stephen Holcomb. Manny Mahata in sixth spot. Corey Butner, great rookie race here, 9th place for him, his first taste of Winterberg ice. And John Jackson of Great Britain undid some of the first heat damage to finish in 14th spot.
Reaktionen nach diesem aufregenden Rennen in der Zweierbob-Konkurrenz der Herren. Wir wollen aber auch einer Dame hier dazu verhelfen, dass sie ihre Aufregung loswerden kann, denn sie vermisst ihren Enkel. Also eine Suchmeldung hier von dieser Stelle. Gesucht wird der 8 Jahre alte Junge Levi Schmidt-Lord.
Welcome back to Winterberg in Germany, where Stephen Holcomb remains our two-man World Cup points leader. He finished in 5th place here after 3 victories this season. Alexander Zubkov takes the silver medal and remains in 2nd place. Corey Butner 3rd in the World Cup rankings after another good result, finishing 9th place, his first outing on the Winterberg track. But we have a winner on this track who has not claimed victory here for the first time since 2009 at Bert Hefty and Thomas Lamparter. Well, that time Hefty rolled out of the final corner to claim two-man gold ahead of his teammate Ivo Röck, who was in 3rd spot. And today, Hefty claims victory in Winterberg once more. His first win in the World Cup this season. Let's catch up with John Morgan with our top 3.
Vice President of the FIBT, Wilfred Idema, handing out the flowers. But the most important thing about when you come to Winterberg, when you get in the podium here in the flower ceremony, is after they give out the flowers, they bring by a very special prize, the big picture of Velton's beer, which is the local beer distributor here, brewery that has been so supportive of bobsled, luge, and skeleton racing here since they built the track way back in the mid-70s. So into our 3rd place finish, Lyndon Rush, Jesse Lumsden, great start in the second run, but 2 good runs down the track.
Yeah, it was, you know, I got to thank the guys who support us, the Eurotech guys. They do such a good job. I bet you we're the best supported team on tour. And you see it starting to come through with the men's result and the women's result. Our stuff is just always just right the way we need it. And in the 4-man, it's getting better every week. So I want to say special thank you to those Eurotech guys.
How's your start in the second run, okay? 5:16, not bad, not bad. Enjoy the beer.
Thank you.
You do commentary later.
I'm coming next.
Okay, Alexander Zubkov and Dmitry, 2 good runs, huh?
Да, очень все хорошо. Машина отработала она великолепно. Работа была сделана. Дмитрий сделал все хорошо. Спасибо всем, кто болел.
He's thanking everybody else like he always does. He got a good start from his brakeman and silver medal tomorrow. Now, they're back. No North American Tour, but you know, how many times do you win in Winterberg now? You know, this is 3 or 4 times. This is a special place for you.
Ja, wir waren jetzt sicher genug hier. War Anfangs der Saison recht schwierig mit meinen verletzten Leuten. Und dass es natürlich jetzt so gut klappt, hätten wir auch nicht gerechnet, aber es freut uns sehr.
Thomas, happy to be back on tour?
Ja, es ist schön, wieder im Weltcup starten zu können, nach der Verletzung Anfangsjahr. Und ja, mit dem ersten Platz ist natürlich super gelaufen.
Yeah, well, they're very happy to be back on the tour and winning gold medals. Congratulations.
Yeah, Bert Hefty saying, great to be back in the World Cup. Alexander's got his young child with him. And yeah, a little bit of beer envy going on there among the top 3. It is alcohol-free, which is good news, because Jesse Lumsden will be joining us for the teams competition later on. Well, that's it then, a new winner. First time out in the World Cup this season. Bert Hefty adds another gold medal to his Winterberg haul. The Swiss has victory here. Next weekend we move on to La Plagne in France and maybe another first winner. Till then, bye from now. Okay, here we go. A couple of minutes to get some wild lines done for Universal Sports. So let's see if we can do those. Hope you have still got the tape running, guys. So I'll run through a whole bunch of these for skeleton and bobsleigh. Stay with us for more skeleton action on Universal Sports. There's more skeleton action coming up on Universal Sports right after this. There's more skeleton action coming up on Universal Sports right after this. Stay with us when we return on Universal Sports. We'll be right back after this break on Universal Sports. Welcome back to our Skeleton World Cup coverage here on Universal Sports. Welcome back